So going forward, that's what we're going to be doing. Yes. Yes. I mean, that we do so. AVM Africa was established in 1961 as a bus and truck manufacturer or assembler. Like I said, it used to be in Harare Street, over Market Square. Then in the late 60s, it moved to this premises. And this premises is about close to 13 acres of land. And we are arguably the biggest bus plant, not just in Zimbabwe, but on the continent. You know, we have visited some of these bus plants, and we are arguably the biggest. We produce buses from scratch. In other words, our manufacturing is not just putting manufactured parts from elsewhere together, it's just making them and buying some of the components locally. So our bus is 65% local content and about 35% imported content. So it is a local bus. It's, I'm proud to say it is a Zimbabwean bus and it is an African bus. And what is unique with our bus is designed in Africa by Africans for our terrain. It can go anyway. You know, there's no problem with that. The body and the suspension, everything designed for our roads and terrain. Yeah. So we've got three major departments. Just the manufacturing plant, the service center, and the parts center. That makes up the AVM Africa operation. Yeah. We're still looking for offtake. We're still looking for orders. The capacity hasn't changed that much. We still need orders to capacitate our production factory. We don't have enough work there.
Okay.
I think
because we are importing quite a number of buses from China. Yeah. So what has been the challenge, or what is the challenge?
Well, we're just waiting. We manufacture buses to order. So if there's no order, it's very difficult because it's capital intensive. If you manufacture buses with no orders, then you're going to get stuck with stock that you have, stock of buses that you have made. But once we get an order, we manufacture. We don't have a problem. The problem is we're not getting as much order as they would expect.
Okay.
Yeah, so possibly I would say maybe it's a policy change or shift that we need to say we buy local. To me, as far as I'm concerned, I know. You know, even if you go to the olden days, when you talk of Harare United, Salisbury United, all those buses were manufactured here. It was all locally manufactured. So maybe that's what we need to do, is from the top there.
I think about 2 weeks ago there was a story in the media, private bus operators importing about about 200 buses. Actually, those 200 buses are actually on their way, and their target is acquiring about 700 buses to service urban roads. imports. Why are they not coming to? Is it because of price or what? Why are they preferring to import than to buy locally?
Well, there's a special instrument that came out about 2-3 months ago. We said buses for transporting people are now duty free. So which means it makes it very difficult for us to compete with that. Once they remove duty, it basically means that we remain vulnerable, very vulnerable.
And in terms of partnerships, where are you importing that 35% import components?
Well,
they are for engines, isn't it?
yeah, it's mainly the imports that we do is mainly engine, UK box, U2 axles. The rest is local.
And do you still have that relationship with Belarus?
Yes, we're working on. Yeah, we're finalizing that relationship with Belarus, and we also have relations with Chinese suppliers, and we also have relations with DAF. Because a lot of our buses, as you are well aware, that they are DAF powered.
And maybe you would like to highlight what flagship projects is AVM undertaking under the current policy environment, particularly to drive towards economic growth, particularly in the transport sector.
The major project that we have done is we have designed and produced city bus, local city bus that carries about 120 passengers, and we launched it with the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, and we gave it to public service for trial runs. I think it was there for about 2-3 months. We just wanted to test it to make sure that this bus does what we wanted it to do, and it did a good job there.
What about maybe how is government support contributed to the growth of AVM in particular?
I'm sure they can do more. We've just received an order, or an order for about 10 buses, but they said they'll give us more. But that's a good beginning. I'm sure that's okay. But I'm sure they can do more, because as far as we are concerned, as far as AVM is concerned, government is the biggest buyer of any vehicle, including buses. So we expect the government to give us that support.
Because I think there is a cabinet directive that buses and motor vehicles for government departments, ministries and government departments should be procured locally. I don't know if that directive is being enforced.
Well, I can't talk much about vehicles, but I will talk much more about buses. As far as I'm concerned, there is no need to buy commuter buses outside the country. That there is no need for that. Those buses must be local buses. Maybe if you want to do cross-border, where you want to take people to Johannesburg, Lusaka, Lilongwe, and so forth, those can be imported. But if it's commuter buses from Musika into town and back, and Highfield back and whatever, those buses, that's what we make. Yeah.
So on average, how many buses can you make in a month?
Well, in a normal, we can do 25 buses every month.
25 buses.
In a single shift, yeah.
So at 5% capacity,
It's a jobbing. That's why when I say jobbing, is you're doing bus now, one bus now, maybe next week you start on another one, then it's also costly.
So maybe lastly, you'd like to maybe highlight the role of the private sector, particularly other industrial players like you in particular, undertaking, so the role that you're playing in driving economic transformation under the Second Republic.
We're not looking back, because we think we are a big player in public transport provision. And we're going to show you a new bus that we've designed. that is like on a completion, almost being completed now. I want to show you, we've never stopped. We think commuter buses should be locally manufactured or assembled. Because apart from AVM, we've got 91 companies that feed into bus manufacturing. You can imagine the amount of job losses that we are creating as a country. The amount of jobs that we are losing or exporting. And most of the, in terms of workforce, you're looking at your welders, even school leavers, training various trades, you know, in these 90 to 91 companies, plus here.
So it's AVM when it comes to buses and the one in Italy.
So go again.
The AVM in terms of producing the buses, it's AVM and I think there's a Quest Motors.
Yeah, the bus manufacturers here, it's AVM and Devon Engineering. Yeah, Quest they also say assembling. But in terms of assembling, but in terms of manufacturing, it's AVM and Devon.
And we have no relationship with Devon.
We are in the same cluster.
Oh, I mean, in terms of shareholding.
No, AVM is government. Devon is government.
Well, we're a private company.
Yeah, we're private, yes. Yeah.
I thought you were a common shareholder. I didn't know. Okay. So I think to one of the president, she my nephew's school, Victoria.
What do you?
Maybe my interviews, maybe on the restaurant who plant.
So in industry conference, yes.
Yeah, I think to tell the person.
The Zimbabwe Industrialization Conference and Expo. Maybe you'd like to take us through some of the key pillars that you want to undertake as the private sector towards driving Zimbabwe's industrialization, particularly in the transport sector.
You know, so talking about the automotive sector, my thinking, or AVM's thinking, is that buses and all these vehicles that we buy in bulk should be locally assembled. The main reason being that it creates employment at home. At this peak, AVM Africa used to employ close to 5,000 people. That's just direct here, without talking about the downstream industries. And when you talk of the downstream industries, there's a lot of them. Now that we have Tinson on the line, it means all our steel, because 90% of material on a bus is steel. So it's going to be locally produced, or it's now being locally produced. So we're getting steel from there. You know, if you talk about paints, nuts and bolts, there's timber, there's so many, you're going to see when you get inside. All those materials, they should be, if they are produced locally, that means we create thousands and thousands of jobs. So this is what we're looking at as a industry, as a cluster, automotive industry cluster. That to say, vehicles, for example, parliamentary vehicles. Parliament want to import 500 vehicles, for example. Why not get kits and get those vehicles, get wheel of road assembled, for example? We want to buy buses, like you said, you're talking about 700 buses. Why not buy kits and let's get these things, these buses assembled here, and see how much employment we create as a country. So, to us, as automotive sector, or as AVM, it's employment creation. Let's create employment for children.